right, man, we'll kick this off. Introduce everybody to who you are, what you do, what you're all about, and obviously that big win that we were just talking about.
Okay, perfect. So my name is Breton McNeil. I am a 22-year-old from Halifax, Nova Scotia. I'm also a type 1 diabetic. Right now, I am actually living kind of in PEI, going to school at Holland College, working towards a kinesiology degree right now.
Nice.
And living with my girlfriend here, and currently, I guess, doing online coaching as well, running my McNeil Maid business as we speak. Kind of just started doing that about 6 months ago or so, really
Nice.
kicking that off. So trying to keep going with that. But yeah, that's pretty much me.
Awesome. So talk about your competition history. So for those that don't know, you just became a WNBF pro. So talk about what's led to that, your journey so far to that.
Okay, well, so first off, it was actually only my second competition.
Oh.
So, yeah, so I did my first show in 2016. It was like November 2016. It was like an MPC show. It was just kind of like a local show,
Yep.
20 minutes away from my house. I just kind of wanted to basically get my feet wet, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I was pretty small. I knew I really didn't have that much muscle. I kind of just wanted to go in and do it for fun.
Yep.
To get the nerves out, get the experience, you know what I mean? Because I had the idea of actually doing the Muscle Mayhem for like kind of a while. So
Right.
since I did that show, I was like, you know what, I really want to focus on the Muscle Mayhem, and right from there started training, did like a good off season, actually felt like I put on quite a bit of muscle.
Nice.
And then I was like prepared. So I did like a 28-week cut, and I was like, I'm ready for this, kind of like really trying to dial in for it. So, and obviously it paid off. So
Nice.
Pretty excited.
Was that self-coached?
Okay, so I got coached from Patrick McGinnis, like Natty lifts.
Yep.
On Instagram. So he coached me. He's actually from Halifax too.
Okay.
So
cool.
what happened is I kind of followed him for a while, and he actually kind of gave me the idea. Well, give me the idea. It was kind of the inspiration. I was like, you know what? I seen him compete. He did well. I was like, he's from the area. I was like, you know what? Like, I want to try this. So gave him a message. We got a couple workouts in, just kind of kept talking. He coached me into my first show. Then we became friends and stuff like that, kind of kept in contact.
Yep.
I did my off season and stuff like that myself, kind of prepped myself for like the first, probably like 14 weeks. So about the first half of the show. And then I contacted him. He kind of prepped me the last little bit, to make those kind of tough calls, when to push. And he's a trust. I trust him, like with his eye and stuff, when to make judgments. So
totally.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Awesome. So you said when you did your first show, you felt you didn't have a lot of muscle on you. So what did you do in that off season to beef up with muscle mayhem?
So what I did is really what happened is I just my knowledge. So I didn't really, looking back, I didn't train properly. I didn't really track my training. Kind of learned more so about more understanding progressive overload, periodization in my training. I just really kind of took my information, stepped it up a notch, really learned about, okay, got to be eating enough, got to be tracking my eating, stuff like that. So I just feel like I just took it a lot more seriously and knew what I was doing. So it kind of just took me to that next level.
Nice.
And I felt like my strength, like I was just progressing all the time. I just felt like I really progressed as an intermediate kind of thing, you know what I mean? And it really allowed me to put on a lot more muscle and improve.
Awesome.
It was probably about a 12 to like 16-month off season, so it was a decent amount of time.
Nice. So what was your nutrition like during that off season? Were you kind of dirty bulking, for lack of a better term, or was it pretty structured?
Okay, so I probably was more than I should have been. I definitely got pretty heavy. I think it's kind of what helped me though, put on some extra muscle. I mean, was I probably 5 or 10 pounds a little heavier than I could have been? Yeah, but whatever. What I did though is I just kind of stuck to my macros. I wasn't like super strict with it. I just made sure really that I was hitting my protein. And then from there, I'd kind of go with the rest of the calories, give or take within a couple hundred. Like I wasn't super strict. Like I'd go out to meals with my friends, girlfriends, stuff like that. I was still enjoying life. You know what I mean? So, but just try to at least hit that kind of minimum protein, like I said, and try to stay within a decent range of my calories. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what kind of training? Would you follow like a push pull legs? Was it like a bro split? What was your style there?
So I did push pull legs for a while. That's what I was following for quite a while. Do like push pull legs, rest, pull legs kind of thing. But then actually, what I started really liking was doing like an upper lower, kind of like a heavier sort of strength day, I guess you could call it. Not really, just more in the 6 to 8 rep range, and then I do
Yep.
a push pull legs, more of like a hypertrophy kind of workout.
Okay,
So
cool.
I did that, and I was actually kind of really liking that split. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now.
So what'd you do? What switch between the days? Like, what did you have different exercises, or was it just the rep ranges?
Kind of a little bit. So I would do kind of more of my heavier compounds in the upper lower in the first 2 days. And then I would still start with a compound or whatever on my other push pull legs, kind of split later in the week.
Right.
But it was just a little bit more isolation, kind of some higher rep, higher volume work.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when you converted then into prep for Muscle Mayhem, what changed with working with Pat, nutrition, training wise?
To be honest, like not too much. Like I was in contact with him. Me and him kind of have the same kind of mindset, kind of the same style with that sort of thing. With the approach do we have with training and nutrition. So really, what he did was, just like anyone would do, added in some extra cardio at some points, would make those extra like those tough calls when to dig a little bit more. Okay, when to we got to cut some carbs out, we got to do this and that kind of thing. So it wasn't like things didn't change too much.
Perfect.
Took a little bit of volume away, took a little bit of like the heavier squats away and stuff like that. But besides that, not too much really. But he was just kind of a trusted eye.
Yeah,
like I said, when to make those tough calls and stuff.
Yeah. Did you have any injuries or anything that nagged you the entire time?
Sorry, 1 second there. I think something cut out. I can't hear you.
We good?
Okay, yeah, I can hear you now.
So I was just asking, like, did you have any injuries or anything that bugged you when you were prepping at all?
Okay, knock on wood here. No, nothing.
Good.
Nothing. So, I usually I play pretty safe with my lifting. Like that's something so I'm always trying to work on my mobility. Like I never really try and lift with my ego, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I try and keep it pretty tight on my form and stuff like that. So I know during preps, definitely getting leaner, getting more injury prone like that, not having much body fat on you. So I try and play it safe. I really did not want to get injured. That was one of my main goals. So.
Nice. Smart.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Yeah, don't want to get carried away. Sometimes you can, but I try to keep it in check. So
for sure. Do you usually train alone, or do you have a friend you go with, or?
I got a couple buddies. Sometimes I'll go with, but like honestly, no. I'm kind of that go alone guy. Just like putting my headphones in, kind of keeping to myself. You know what I mean? Kind of trying to get in the zone, just
get to work,
keep it to myself, sort of thing. You know what I mean? I find chatting too much, just breaking it up too much. The intensity gets out.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy. I like to kind of get in, do my stuff, get out, sort of thing.
Where do you train? Are you at like just a little local gym or?
No. So what I do is I have I train at like a Good Life,
hey.
So big kind of commercial gym. Yeah, there's one right by my house in Tantallon. So I mean it's like 5 minutes away. Yeah. And like I said, I go to Holland College and PEI, and the same thing. There's one here 5 minutes away. So it's just kind of perfect. I can use the same tag, go to both. Yeah, works out pretty good. So
yeah, exactly. Is there any gyms like I know where I am? I'm in Ontario, and there's like Flexplex, Regan Grimes gym.
Yes, yeah. I think I follow their Instagram.
Yeah, that's like 4 hours from me. Do you guys have any like hardcore gyms down there like that, or is it all basically like Good Life commercial gym?
Okay, so in PEI, I've heard of one. I haven't trained there. It's called like Iron Haven.
Okay.
I think it's called pretty hardcore gym, like all old school weights and stuff like that. But I've actually never personally trained there. But for Halifax, for the most part, there's like quite a bit of commercial gyms, like Fit for Less, Good Life. We got like a Canadian. That's another commercial gym. But there's one like Fitness FX and stuff like that. That's more of like a little bit more hardcore. But I don't think it's kind of. We don't have too many, to be honest. Actually.
No. So talk about being type 1 diabetic. How has that kind of impacted training, nutrition, and the whole bodybuilding lifestyle, basically?
Yes. No. Definitely has a big effect on it. So the main thing is really making sure that my blood sugar is in check, like in the proper ranges. Like I want to have it between about 4 and 8. That's kind of the average level where my energy is going to be the best.
Right.
So the problem which happens is like sometimes, if you get caught up or you're busy or maybe sometimes you just over inject insulin, then if you go low, Then I go below that 4. That's when I'm gonna be shaky. I kind of need a juice box or something like that.
Yep.
And the problem with that is that really it really affects your energy levels. So like you're
Totally.
going low before a workout or during a workout, like it's really gonna mess you up. Like you got to take a window of time to kind of sit down, eat some food, kind of
Yep.
relax for a minute to recover. And then the other time too, or the other thing is going too high. So if you maybe eat more than you thought, or just whatever happens, your blood sugar goes too high, it goes, maybe 10, 12 or whatever. Your energy is going to, you're tired, you're going to feel like you have to go to the bathroom a lot, dry mouth,
Yep.
very thirsty, kind of just feeling lethargic, stuff like that. So
Right.
that's why it's tough either way. So you got to really try and stay between that range, right? So it's tough.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, there's been days, I've gone low, and I already hit my macros for the day. But what are you gonna do? You gotta drink your juice box, right? So
Shit.
that's gonna impact your prep a bit, and you gotta adjust for that the next day and do the stuff like that if something like that happens, right?
So what was like?
It can be tough.
What would you do if that came up? Like, how would you manage that? Like, say you did have to slam a juice box, at the end of the day, and you're like, okay, now what?
Yeah, so really what I would do is most of the time I'd tell Patrick, well, if I was working with Patrick, I'd tell him usually we wouldn't really do too much. He might just say, okay, take a couple carbs off the next day, maybe do like a couple more steps from your activity or whatever. But realistically, we didn't do too much because for the one thing, it was like the odd time it happened. It only happened maybe a couple, like 2 or 3 times.
Right.
And luckily for me, like I don't know, 20 or 30, 40 carbs. Like it wasn't too much of an effect on me. And like I said, it was kind of more so in the later stages, or not too late, like the 4 or 5 week mark, but a little bit out. So I had a little bit more flexibility there. So we didn't really do too much, to be honest.
Nice. That makes things easy then. When is there like a certain like situation where it comes up? Like is it, or is it random?
So that's what I mean. So like it's really tough. So there's so many different things that can affect it. Like if I have like a really bad sleep, like something happens the next day, I'll need to take more insulin. Like that affects my like how like resistant I am. If you're like stressed out, like just say exams, something like that in school, I find that will affect it. That will make my blood sugars run higher. If I'm like working out more, say I was like walking a lot, I was a lot more active one day, that would make my sugars drop a lot more.
Right.
If I do cardio sometimes, that makes it spike down. Like there's just so many variables to it. That's why it's tough. Right. And when you go through a prep and you're leaning out and losing more weight, I'm getting more insulin sensitive and I'm having to take less and less insulin.
Yeah.
So I have to kind of account for that and make sure I'm monitoring it. So
presents a whole new challenge, eh?
It does. It really does. That's it. It really does, honestly. But the good thing is, like, I'm really tight with it, and me being so into like the fitness and all that kind of makes it a lot easier for me. Luckily, so that was kind of one of my huge motivations to getting so much into it, is because I was diagnosed with it when type 1 diabetes when I was 16. So that's what kind of really started kicking things off for me. So worked out anyways. So
now, have you noticed? Like, have you always been kind of in the gym? Or did it just develop the last few years?
I kind of was always in the gym. Like, I was always that guy, like, with my friends. I remember grade 8 getting, like, a membership down at the local, like, kind of rink or whatever. Doing some dumbbell presses there, hitting a few machines, and walking down, getting some food after with my buddies and stuff like that. But it was always very, like, inconsistent. Go for a couple months, blah, blah, blah. But the thing was, too, I played high school hockey. So I was kind of always into the gym, somewhat training for that, but nothing ever like too serious, like a couple times a week maybe, but more or less just going with my buddies, you know what I mean, hanging out.
For sure. Now, did you follow bodybuilding, prior to wanting to compete, or was it kind of just, I might be able to do okay?
I didn't really, like, I honestly, to be honest, I didn't really follow it too much. Like, I was into it. I'd follow a few competitors here and there, just some people I follow from social media, like Matt Ogus, like, I ended up following Chris Elkins and following him for a while. Started getting into like 3DMJ crew and stuff like that. So that's when I kind of just like, I really started to like it. And then I just came up with the idea. I was like, you know what? I listened to some of their stuff, some of their advice. Like, it can't hurt just to go out and try it. Like, what do I have to lose? So I was really prepared just to do my first show for fun, and I really didn't have any expectations.
Yeah.
So it worked out great. I really enjoyed the experience, and it just kind of like, I was like, all right, let's do this thing. Like, I learned a lot. Like, let's go, kind of thing. So I was really fired up to kind of do the next one, and I tried to have the patience to hold off, so I did add that muscle.
Yeah. So how'd you get into the idea of the muscle mayhem? Like, I've been competing since 2015, and I actually just learned about it like within the last like 9 or 10 months, maybe, just through through following you, Jeff Nippard, Nunez, like all those guys. Like, I competed with the CBBF, right? And then that's all changed. Now it's the CPA. But for me, I'm like, okay, Muscle Mayhem next year might not be a bad idea. It looked like a good time. So tell me about like how you got, okay, I'm not going to compete in Canada. I'm going to go all the way down to California.
Yeah. So totally. So actually working with Patrick, he won the overall in the Muscle Mayhem in 2016.
Right.
And he's what kind of gave me the idea, because he kind of came back and just told me, like, man, like, this is a huge show. This is a really competitive show. A lot of like good people go there. A lot of top notch competitors. It's going to be super competitive. Like he said, he kind of just said how good it was, how good the experience was, and stuff like that. Kind of put the idea in, and he said, well, it's California too. Like, who doesn't want to go to California? You know what I mean? So he put the idea in my head, and I mentioned to my family, like, come on, like, you know what I mean? We'll start putting some money away, go for a vacation, blah, blah, blah. And they were joking around with it. And then we really started talking. I was like, I'm serious. Like, I want to train. Like, I'm putting some money away. Like, I want you guys to come with me. Like, let's do this.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, like, let's see it. Let's see the commitment kind of thing. Like, they knew I was into it. They didn't know if I was going to be able to commit to it and whatever. Just, you know what I mean? Anything can come up.
Yeah.
So, no, they seen me go through with it. And then we ended up following through. And they said, let's do this.
That's sweet.
But really, it was kind of, like I said, it was kind of Patrick introducing it to me. And the more I heard about it, I was just seeing competitors like Jeff who competed, all these other people who won pro cards, and how kind of competitive the athletes were. And I wanted to go and try that experience, right, with the WNBF, and just kind of do a natural show. So
yeah, that's the thing. Like, I've struggled with the CBBF and stuff is like you're not 100% sure. Whereas the WNBF, like, it's in California, but like, you know, you're going to be up there with natural and the best natural, right? So it pays off.
I agree, man.
If you're in it for that, then it's 100% good.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So what would be next for you then? So you have a year and you have to compete again, or?
Yes. So actually, what's happening is I'm actually 10 weeks out. I'm doing another show.
Woo!
So I'm doing the Edmonton Pro Show. Actually, October 20th is the plan.
Okay.
So So what happened with that was I didn't originally kind of know about that rule about the 1 year to compete. Like, I was like, oh geez, all right, 28 weeks. That was good. Like, I was fine with that. But anyways, So I had the idea, like, oh geez, man, like, I'll just try and take maybe an off season for like 6 months and then just go back into it. I was like realistically though, probably not the best idea. I was talking to Patrick. He came up with the idea, like, man, listen, Edmonton Pro Show, October 20th. He's like, we'll just kind of start reversing you up, keep things tight, keep things in check, like, you know what I mean? And we'll just kind of go into it, do your best sort of thing, go from there so you don't have to worry about it. And then I don't have to compete for another 2 years after that.
Oh, okay. So you had to put money away to go to California. How are you? Like, I know, like, for me, it's not cheap to go out west. So, like, how have you kind of mitigated that?
Well, I got some money. That's what I mean, saving up for this. I mean, I got a couple months.
Yeah.
I kind of, luckily, I have some money put away, so I should be fine for that. But totally. You know what I mean?
It's not cheap.
I gotta be good with it, because I know the flights. Like, I gotta be good with my money over the next little bit, because I know flights definitely aren't cheap from there. It's definitely gonna be a little bit. So
yeah, like I just last week was just looking. My girlfriend and I are like dreaming to go out to BC one day and just go out to the coast out there. It was $800 round trip for the flight.
Ooh, yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe I should start checking on that a little sooner then. Jeez, all right.
Yeah, like but it's crazy. Like, it's unfortunate, right? Because like you want to go compete out there, and like even to go to California, right? Like you had to start saving early, and it's like frig.
I know.
Stuff adds
I know.
up.
That's what I mean. It sucks when there's not as so many local competitive shows. It's tough, but I guess
That's the only
that's
one
what
in
you got to do.
that's the only one in Canada, right? The WNBF. That's their only Canadian show.
Yeah, from what I know, that was kind of like my option in that time frame.
What
So
about? Is there a New York one? I thought I saw there was a New York one. Like, wouldn't that might be an option too? Because that would
honestly,
be cheaper, probably.
I'm still kind of looking at stuff. Like I really am. Like was in contact with the promoter for like the Edmonton show, just kind of getting the details more on that. But like, I still am looking, still seeing what the thing is. But as of right now, that is what
That's
it's
the
looking
plan.
like. So
Cool. That's awesome.
that's the plan.
So is the Muscle Mayhem their biggest one?
So, from what I hear and from what people are telling me, it's pretty much like the most competitive. Anyways, I don't know. That was like their 20th annual show.
Oh wow!
So yeah, so it's been around for a while. I'm not sure exactly like the history on it all, but I do know like a lot of big like competitors have kind of won their pro card there, competed there, stuff
That's
like
sweet.
that. So
that's
awesome. Kind of how I originally heard about it. So
Good
to go down there and like win that all, I was pretty friggin'
especially
excited.
at 22. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I know.
Did your family
I was pretty
freak
blown
out?
away.
Did your family lose their mind?
Oh my god, yeah. So, oh yeah, it's a funny story. My girlfriend has her video is hilarious. So I was in the crowd, and they had like a really good seat. They got there super early, obviously, and they were just right up front. And I just remember it was like the six of us getting called out. It was like sixth place and fifth place, and I was just standing there, and like every call, they're like, "Oh my god!" Like, "Oh my god!" And then came down to the final two, and they're just jumping up, and I was just like, "Oh my god!"
That's sweet.
Freaking out. So
I remember.
It was worth the trip. So
yeah, it's interesting because they call it backwards, right? So you're just like waiting for your name to not get called.
Exactly. I kept looking at my number, like, "Oh my god, not me."
I did Canadian Nationals last year, and it was in Quebec.
Okay.
So they announced, like when they would do announcements, so they're like, for me, they're like men's bodybuilding lightweight. They'd say it in French first, and then they'd say it in English. So for like a split second, I'd stand there and be like, okay, that's me.
Yeah.
But then when they counted the numbers, they said it in French too. So they're like, so there was me and like, however many other guys, and they're announcing, and and then it was me and this other guy. And I'm like, okay, if I get called, I'm second. If I don't hear my number, then I've just won. So they announced the number in French, and I'm like, and then in my head, I'm like, deux, trois, quatre, oh!
That's unreal. That's cool. Hilarious.
So what made you go physique versus like bodybuilding or whatever? Like, have you always been more of like, I think physique looks better, or did Pat help you with that?
I think, to be honest, I just kind of started, and I first kind of thought like, okay, I don't really have that much muscle, so let's start with physique.
Yep.
And I do like the look of physique. Like I like the kind of the criteria of it. I like the way it looks aesthetically and stuff like that. So
cool.
I felt like I had genetically like kind of a good build for that. So I just kind of went with that. Like working with Pat, he kind of talked to me, focus on some more areas like this, emphasis on, upper chest, certain arms, delts, stuff like that.
Cool.
And just kind of went from there. I mean, I do have ideas that I would love to try with bodybuilding in the future.
Yep.
But especially like winning, and when it just feels like, okay, well, must be doing all right at it, so why not keep it going, right?
Exactly.
So,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? So, but we'll see. I really do like bodybuilding category though. I love loving training legs, getting into the whole bit like that. So it's just like, we'll never know. You could see me on bodybuilding someday. We'll see.
So after October, so you have an off season, in theory after that, is there certain areas you're going to work on? Are you going to try to do a lean kind of steady thing? Like what's your plan moving forward with that?
Yeah. So my plan moving forward is definitely, so keep it tighter. First off, I kind of first show, I'm sure everyone goes a little crazy first show. I know I did.
So before you go on, what's your weight? Like, what were you stage versus off season? What's your kind of weight range there?
Okay, so yeah, so I started my prep at like 189, 190,
Okay.
and I stepped on stage probably like 157.
Nice.
So yeah, so
150s.
yeah,
How
yeah.
tall are you? How
So
tall are you?
how tall? I'm 5'10".
Okay.
Yeah. So what the plan is? So what happened is I gained like quite a bit of weight pretty fast last prep. Like it wasn't too bad, but like I definitely gained like 10 or 15 pounds within like the first like month or so, and then kind of went a little bit leaner from there.
Yeah.
But the plan is this time is just trying to keep it a little bit leaner throughout and be more consistent. Like I found I would go kind of sporadic last time. I'd eat a little bit, like go a little bit crazy for a week, and be like, okay, get back on. Like
Yeah.
nothing too crazy, but just I want to be a bit more consistent with that. I got better later on in time, but just right after the show, I really want to like capitalize on that and try and stay lean to kind of set myself up,
Yep.
with higher calories, so I'm in a better position for growing, gaining, stuff like that.
Cool.
But yeah, from there, I really do want to just stay in the off season as long as possible. Do try and hit that 2 year mark, and then just really look for a show from there.
That's sweet.
See what works best in that time frame, because I really do want to try and improve as much as possible. So
Yeah.
But you said also what like areas I'm working on.
Yeah, like in your off season, is there any like body parts you're like, okay, if there's one thing I need to prioritize or two things or whatever, those are it? Or
Yeah, so I still think my chest, like I think my chest improved, but I just find like as soon as I get really lean, like when I get past like 165, I just find like just
flattens?
deflates, like just gets flattened out.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Just like a lot of, I really am going to focus on my chest. I want to work on just my kind of like who doesn't want to work on everything, but
Yeah.
really my chest is probably my main focus. Like keep going with the delts and arms, just kind of keep growing
So you get
those
wider.
muscles, really. But the whole package, the upper shelf, really, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Keep
Nice.
growing, so, but
Right on.
yeah.
That's sweet. So what's your online coaching like? How are you doing with that? You said it's what, 6 months old? How's that going?
Yeah, so it's actually going good. So I had the idea of doing it for a while. I'm sure everyone kind of does, and I really started out just enjoying it. Like I said, working with Patrick, he really did help me out so much. He kind of helped me a lot. I became good friends with him. He kind of
Nice.
showed me what it's like, the stuff he did. I really started to educate myself. Like I said, going to school.
Yep.
Just getting really, really into, like, you know what I mean? Just like I said, reading the Eric Helms strength pyramid, nutrition
Yep.
pyramid, just doing stuff like that to kind of educate myself. And
Yep.
it started off, first me improving, and then I was really improving at the gym, and then I was the guy writing plans for my buddies, or
Yeah.
helping my family with certain things, or just random people asking me questions and giving out, macro advice or just nutrition advice in general and stuff like that.
Cool.
So I started just doing it for free like anyone would, and then I just kind of had the idea of, let's start a business, let's start something for myself. Like I would love to be able to grow this in the future, maybe be self-employed at some point, ever do something like that. So it started off, just like anyone, a couple of clients, but right now I got like working at like 10 or 15 clients in the work. So I'm just
Wow.
kind of doing that, and just kind of going from there. So clients are seeing results. Everyone's happy. I'm
Good for you,
doing.
man.
I feel like I'm just learning more already, just from the first couple months of working with people, seeing certain things that are working better and whatnot, how to communicate with different people and stuff like that. So really, what it is just start from here, help people out as much as I can.
Cool.
Just charge a small fee until work your way up to
Yep.
more experience, where I can charge more and stuff like that, and kind of go from there. But why not start young, right? Where I feel like I do have a good education and I can pass that along. You know what I mean?
Yep. What's your demographic with clients right now? Is it all over the place, or do you got mostly competitors, or?
Yeah, so actually, to be honest, it's really, right now, it's a lot of just kind of general population between like 18, 24. Like that's
Yep.
like really what it is. I have like a lot of kind of like local people that maybe I went to high school with, or who maybe went to schools near me,
Cool.
follow me on Instagram, stuff like that, or have
Yep.
mutual friends. I'm starting to spread out though to kind of more provinces near me. Like I had a couple people inquiries from like people in New Brunswick, people in PEI. Now
Nice.
that I'm training here, so kind of just spreading all over the board. But right now, it's really kind of more general population looking to like lose weight, couple people, like a couple guys, we're doing lean bulk right now, looking to put on some muscle and stuff like that.
So you just do like macros and training and everything like that with them?
Yeah, pretty much. So I'll set them up on, like, we'll do a spreadsheet, and I'll start getting them to, like, I'll set up their mesocycles for them in their training, and I'll have like a little nutrition tab where I'll get them to record their daily intake of like their protein, carbs, and stuff. Protein, carbs, fats, a couple questions like that. Every week I send them like a check-in form where, there's a series of questions, get some information how their sleep and stress was, how their training was, blah, blah, blah. Chat in with them, talk with them, see how they're doing, adjust from there, and just kind of go like that. So
cool.
Like, you know what I mean? Pretty kind of your pretty standard coaching protocols.
Yep. Are you mostly like marketing that on Instagram and stuff? Like I've seen you post a little bit about it. Is that kind of your main focus right now?
Yeah, it really is. That's kind of what I'm really active on. What I'm trying to get into right now, actually, is I'm looking at doing like a Facebook page and stuff like that. I know Facebook's good, kind of go for a bit of an older target market. That's the difference, right? But I mean,
different populations are on there. Like I have like I'm a PT, like in person and stuff, and like I have clients from like young kids that are in sports to like, the 50-year-old woman that's trying to like get her body back in check and stuff like that. And it's definitely the demographic you get on Facebook is like her and her friends, and then like the young guys are all on Instagram that are like, dude, like it's you gotta know where to find your people, right? So it's smart.
Yeah, totally, man. I agree.
So are you dealing with anybody that also has diabetes? Like that's definitely a market that like you're that guy, right? So
so actually I am. So he was I'm kind of mutual friends with him. So I have a buddy who was friends with him. He followed me on Instagram for a while. He contacted me. He's actually type 1 diabetic. That's kind of one of the main reasons he reached out with me. So I'm working with him. He's kind of looking for a lean bulk. He's seen my approach and how I was able to put on muscle, and he trusts me with that, obviously. So working with him, and that's actually, that you mentioned, that was kind of one of the areas I would really love to like kind of niche down in the future. You know what I mean?
That'd be cool.
Type 1 diabetic natural trainer. That would be kind of a cool thing. So
like you have that perspective, right? Like there's no way someone without diabetes could like know as much as someone that's in it, right?
Exactly. You can't. You know what I mean? I'm living it daily, so I know what it's like.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Totally.
All right, man. We're gonna wrap this up with just like a rapid fire couple of questions and answers, just to get a little bit more information out of you. So, what is your favorite body part to train?
Favorite body part to train actually is probably my back.
Yeah, back day.
Yeah.
Now, what are some staple exercises that are always in those workouts?
Staples, I love just lat pull downs, just your classic wide grip lat pull downs. Love them.
Yeah.
Love like bent over barbell rows, and like another, what is it called? Like a machine, this high row machine, the lat.
Is that the plate loaded one?
Yeah, the plate loaded one. Yeah, I love that one. Those three, I bet you, those are my three staples I always put in. So.
Nice. Now, is there a body part that you are like that you're going to the gym that day and you're like, oh, it's arm day, and you're like not as jazzed up about it? Do you have any of those?
Okay, so I totally, for the first year, hated leg day. Totally hated leg day.
We all did.
Everyone did. But honestly, that came up so much. I feel like I'm just so even. Like every body part, like I do get pretty fired up. Like nice. I just love kind of training all body parts. Like I go in the same kind of intensity and mentality, I find. That did take me a while though, but I feel like I kind of love training it all. But nice. I do love back day, that's for sure.
What time of day would you train if you could choose? Like, what's your optimal time of day?
I love going like right after like school or work or whatever that may be.
Yep.
That like say 4 or 5 o'clock right before, and I like having like a supper kind of after that.
Yep.
Because I like to kind of get some food, like a couple meals in me throughout the day, and just kind of moving around, just kind of active throughout the day. Kind of, I don't know, 4 or 5 seems to be just my favorite time to go.
Sweet spot. Nice.
So, the sweet spot. That's it. Yeah.
Favorite cheat meal.
Ooh, favorite cheat meal. Someone's asking me that the other day. Honestly, I love a couple things. I love like burritos and tacos, that kind of
All
stuff.
right.
And I also love like just pizza and burgers. Can't go wrong.
Can't
Like
go
I got
wrong.
a couple, man. I can't even choose between those.
What's on your pizza?
Man, I like Meat Lovers Pizza. I like Works Pizza. Actually, you know what? Probably my favorite is Donair Pizza.
Is what? What's that?
Donair Pizza.
What the
Do you
heck
know
is
what that
that?
is? Oh man, do you know what Donair meat is?
No.
Yeah, that's like a Halifax thing. I think. I think it's only in Halifax, or Nova Scotia. Actually, it's like a it's like a lean ground beef, and they have it on a thing, and they slice it
Oh
down
yeah.
and
Okay.
slice it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly what it is. They spice it all up. Oh,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
awesome, like a street meat kind of thing.
Sweet.
Unreal, so good. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. What's the top 3 songs that are on your playlist right now?
Ooh, top 3 songs. You know what, man? I'm bumping those that new Drake album right now. That's what I'm doing. I
That's
got what are
wow.
they? Elevate is one of them. What's another? Elevate, nonstop, and upset. I'm upset. Those are the 3. I'm jamming. I love the Drake
Cool.
right
Cool.
now.
What's like an annoyance in the gym? You walk in the gym, you're looking around, and you're like, that's bugging me right now.
Uh, I'm sure it's like everyone. Well, okay, why it bugs me more, I feel like because I'm from like a small place. When I train in Tantown, we have like 2 squat racks and like
Yeah.
1 bench. And,
Oh.
like it's small. So like when I see like I don't know, see someone going on there and they're doing like just using like the bench press as like dips or doing dips on it or something like that, or someone just curling in the squat rack and stuff like that. It's like, come on, we only got 2 of these here. Like, come on, you're
Get out of
killing
my
me
way.
here. So those are probably my worst. And they're like just seeing people doing like tons of drop sets and just leaving all the weights out. It's like, come on.
Yeah, for sure.
Back.
So what are your long term goals? Like you're 22, you're already a WNBF pro. Now what? Like what's the next like 5 years? Like you're 22, right? So 5 years, you're not even 30 yet. Like what's the long term goals?
Man, I like that's what I mean. Like it still like feels so surreal. Like it's just like I didn't expect it to happen. I'm just like, what it really is though is like I'm just loving it. I found out a couple of years ago how much I'm really loving it. Just learning more and more, going to school. So what I really want to do is I really want to take my education further.
Yeah.
Get like that degree in kinesiology. I want to take some more nutrition classes. Maybe even get into like some sports performance nutrition with diabetics and stuff like that. And really, what I would love to do is be able to focus in on a niche market, have my own company, be able to run my own online coaching business, maybe some kind of in-person consultation, some kind of thing like that around that field. That would be the dream. And I just feel like being a type 1 diabetic, being, living the lifestyle, understanding, being like a WNBF pro, it shows that I have the experience and I have the knowledge. So I just feel like that would really help with like growing that business and stuff like that. So
that's awesome.
That would be the dream, doing something like that.
Good for you, man. Just side note, like what's your girl do? Is she into fitness as well?
Yeah, actually, well, she got more into it with me. She's not like as into it with competing or anything, but she's actually taken nursing in school.
Nice.
So she's already she's very smart with stuff like that. We always talk about nutrition and different things about the body. So we'll go back and forth and test each other for tests. Like sometimes I remember we were taking like anatomy and physiology at the same time at different schools, and we were studying back and forth and stuff like that. So it's pretty funny.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Last one. Biggest couple pieces of advice for the newbies coming in, people wanting to get into, whether it's bodybuilding or physique or whatever, and advice for people that maybe are dealing with diabetes like yourself.
Okay. Biggest one, I'm sure like anyone would say, is just like have patience with everything. I remember my first couple months, I would get like so worked up over worrying about if I'm doing a dumbbell curl or a hammer curl or an easy bar curl, and I was so OCD about everything. And you think you gotta do everything at once, and you just gotta have fun with it. just, worry about getting stronger over time. Eat your food. Don't be worrying about gaining a little fat. Don't be so focused on cutting all the time if you want to progress.
Exactly.
Just have fun with it. Take it slow and really just enjoy it. You know what I mean? You don't have to do these hardcore things if it's not going to be sustainable and burn you out.
Yeah.
That's one thing I never really was into. And then, like I said, just have patience and don't try and find the shortcuts. Just like I said, enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's my main advice, really.
Cool.
But for diabetics too, it can help you so much. It really has helped me control my blood sugar levels and just like my quality of life with that, like my energy levels, my sleep, my moods throughout the day, my food cravings, like so many things have improved. Like just I feel inside my organs, everything just feels healthier when your blood sugars are in check, and you feel confident that they're in check because I know what my body's doing. And the more you get into that, and if you can just do little things that will track that over time, and the more you can just take control of that with fitness, it's just going to help you. It's going to help improve your blood sugar levels. It's going to help stabilize those, and it's just going to really help improve your quality of life, in my opinion.
That's awesome. Thanks. That was good way to finish that, man. That was good.
Yeah, awesome, man. Well, thanks for having me. That was awesome.
No, this was great. Quickly, plug your Instagram. Where can people find you?
Okay, yeah. So if everyone wants to give me a follow, it's just my name. So at Breton McNeil. So BretonMcneil. And
Nice.
that's pretty much where I'm active, and that's where I do everything on.
You don't have a coaching website or anything yet? It's all on Instagram?
No, actually, it's in my bio if you want to check that out. So it's actually McNeil Made, which is www.mcneilmade.com. So
Sweet.
if you want to check that out as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Right on, man. Well, again, thank you. This was awesome. We'll have to do this again sometime. And if you're ever if you ever take a trip down to Toronto or something, let me know and we'll get a lift in.
Yeah, totally, man. We'll do it. Sounds good, buddy. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, man. Have a good rest of your day.
All right. Yeah, you too. Take care.
See ya.
Yeah.